Welcome to Global Entrepreneurship Week, where today we are beaming around the world from the global headquarters of the Thunderbird School of Management in Phoenix, Arizona. We're ever so proud of the great work they do here. So we're very pleased today to be opening Global Entrepreneurship Week at a critical time in our history. 200 nations through national campaigns will be celebrating the entrepreneurial spirit. They'll be trying to inspire more of their citizens to consider the path of entrepreneurship. So what happens during Global Entrepreneurship Week? Well, celebrity entrepreneurs like Sir Richard Branson will inspire more young people to follow in his footsteps. Institutions like multi-government agencies like OECD will launch analysis and research. Corporations like FedEx are funding, making it possible for more historically underrepresented communities to participate in the great entrepreneurial renaissance. And of course, we will have thousands of partners across the world who are building community, hosting events and activities, and finding a way to inspire more of their communities to engage in the great entrepreneurial experiment. So how big is this community? Well, this community is 10 million participants this week, with 40,000 events, all held in 1 week. So it's a very, very exciting time for us to be celebrating the doers, the risk takers, the dreamers, the entrepreneurs. So where are we with entrepreneurship? Well, I'm very pleased to announce that during Global Entrepreneurship Week, we have been able to release data made possible through the Global Startup Ecosystem Report, developed by the talented team at Startup Genome, that tells us that entrepreneurship is alive and well. In fact, it's not just alive and well, it is thriving. And there are societies that previously were left out, that even since the beginning of the pandemic, have begun to engage much more actively. I'll give you a couple of examples. The number of ecosystems generating $4 million or more has doubled in the past 4 years. Doubled. Secondly, out of the top 100 emerging entrepreneurial ecosystems, for which this city is one in Phoenix, Arizona, 91 of those ecosystems have produced a unicorn. I have to tell you, once again, that is twice the number than previously reported. And finally, one other thing, we've seen a 55% increase in the total value of what those ecosystems generated to $540 billion. So I encourage you to take a look at the Startup Ecosystem Report. We've got that available, which gives you more insights as to what's really happening in the state of entrepreneurship. So, if we've got all this success, can we, frankly, declare success and go home? Absolutely not. Entrepreneurs have never been more important. It's never been more important for us as a world to inspire more people to become entrepreneurs. So why do I say that? With 200 nations participating, very little opposition to the creative process of coming up with new value, done at grassroots level among communities, lots of inspiration and innovation. Well, I'll tell you why, because there's a great number of us who are frightened right now about a great number of the global challenges that we're seeing around the world. It's not an accident that Global Entrepreneurship Week this year is 1 week earlier to be aligned with the COP26 Climate Change Summit, where GEW will be live and participating actively in this discussion around how do we execute on some of the great statements made by our global leaders about trying to deal with climate change. And not to mention perhaps the most pressing one, which has been innovating our way out of this pandemic, making sure that those people that were left behind as a result of the pandemic and suffered, that we find a way for our economies to be able to regenerate, to be able to build back better, as the adage has been said. So during this period of time, we need our entrepreneurs. We need to help us reboot, rethink, and regenerate our economies. And why are they perfectly suited? Well, they're perfectly suited because actually, contrary to most of us, they thrive on uncertainty. They thrive on disruption. They're used to operating in an environment where the entrepreneurial talent is one that is put to good use in an uncertain environment. They like the idea when someone shakes up all the rules. They like the idea when they've got an infinite number of new things to test, new possibilities, new solutions to some older challenges. And so we need more of them to use their resilience and their confidence to lead the rest of us in this discussion. And in fact, that is what this week is all about. Our theme this week is actually fewer ministers and heads of state and rock star entrepreneurs. Most of what this week is about is highlighting some of those fabulous success stories. Whether we do it in small towns like Kansas City, where we've got more than 100 live events happening across the city, or whether it's occurring cross-border through Zoom. We're seeing a substantial amount of effort in communities across the planet to put their entrepreneurs up on a pedestal, have them set an example to others, and get more people to maybe look at them and say, could I see myself in that person? And I do want to mention there are going to be very many things, including a movie that we're going to be letting you make aware of you called General Magic, that is going to be made available throughout Global Entrepreneurship Week for free. There's going to be a showing here right after the opening of Global Entrepreneurship Week, but you can check out the GEW homepage to download your own copy of the movie, or to at least watch it, shall I say. But perhaps as important, if not more important, I would like to not just talk about those entrepreneurs on a movie, but we'd like to show you a little set of clips we put together a few minutes ago, because today we are going to announce the winners of the Entrepreneurship World Cup who've got to the final 25. So if you don't know what this is, there are more than 100,000 people from 200 countries that entered the Entrepreneurship World Cup. It's a little different to the average competition because what we focus actually most of our time on is all the help we give them preparing in the months leading up to the competition. And then we focus a lot of time with all the ones that didn't win after the competition. Everybody who enters a competition tells me the problem with these competitions is the day afterwards I never hear from anybody. We're about how do we help these entrepreneurs do well. But today they're going to help us because these top 25 entrepreneurs that we have just announced are going to be going to the live global finals. And we're very, very pleased to give you a couple of the reactions. I got on 15-minute Zoom calls with all of them and spread the news. So without further ado, I'm going to declare Global Entrepreneurship Week open and end my brief comments with hearing from our leaders, not us the feeders, with hearing and letting you see just a handful of those 25 folks that are going to be able to make it and be able to help lead us and lead many of our communities and give us confidence that we too could do well. So without further ado, please welcome the top 25 finalists of the Entrepreneurship World Cup.
You are going to Riyadh.
Yay! This is like one of those reality shows.
Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing. Oh, sorry, I just noticed my voice went to a very high pitch. I hope you guys could mute me and the volume is down. Oh, I'm so happy. This is amazing. Thank you so much for the opportunity. To be honest, I joined these. I wasn't expecting anything at all. For me, it was all about the networking and
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to hear that. Yeah, it's hard to describe the emotions.
yeah.
I was just trying to.
Oh God, that's great. Wow, that's fantastic. This completely caught me off guard.
Oh my God, thank you, Jonathan. And it's honestly the biggest festival in India today, and everyone's out celebrating. And I just think it's going to be the best celebration for me. So thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. That
That's amazing. I'm excited.
Very much. Wow, I'm gonna after this call, I'm gonna call my co-founders, and I know they will be like screaming on the phone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I was excited when you said I might be involved in your activities in Glasgow, but this is amazing. Thank you so much.
It was probably in my 3.5-year journey, the most important platform ever given to us to be able to express the evident need for accessibility, for inclusion, but also to create a more connected society now that technology has truly come to the party and made it possible for us. And so, wow, thank you.
You've been selected as one of the top 25 companies out of the 100,000 around the world, and we are extending an invitation to you to come to Riyadh.
Amazing, Jonathan. I was excited because just now when you were having this conversation, you were saying that, Alan, I want to see you in person. I was like, really? In person? Am I going?
Unreal. Unreal. This is crazy. Just 1 second.
Thank you. Now it's worth all the wait and the suspense over all this. You don't know how many. Normally, I'm very good at public speaking, but how many times I recorded that 3-minute video? Probably the most in my life. So you definitely made me work for it.
You have been selected as one of the top 25 prospective companies in the world. And
oh my gosh, yeah.
Wanted to
thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, yeah, very good. Oh, thank you, thank you. I love you.
Yay!
That's amazing. I probably got a little red, to be honest.
On behalf of Jen and all the team on this call and our partners at MISC and at T-Gulf, I'm very, very excited to tell you that you have been selected to go to Riyadh for the live finals as one of the top 25 companies in the world.
Oh, thank you so much. Such a great news. I'm so excited and can't wait to share actually the news with the team because they also have been waiting. And we thought, okay, they're reaching out. It must be good news because they want to talk to us. So we're kind of hoping that that's what we're going to hear. But thank you so much. And I'm genuinely grateful and excited to be part of this. And thank you for the kind of invitation to become part of this family as well.
Well, I hope that you will take a look at the homepage of GEW.co. We'll give you a link to learn about all these 25 companies that got selected. These are all individuals who are exemplary, not just in their company, but in their story. And I hope more of you who are just thinking about kicking the tires of this, maybe you might be able to be part of a team that forms a new company. Look at their stories. It's really inspirational. And I can tell you, every single one of these has a very, very strong future ahead of them. So thank you very much, and congratulations to all the 25 winners. They'll be featured in their GW campaigns around the world. You'll have a chance to meet them if you want, if you're in their local community. But we're really, really excited. So now, by the way, speaking of around the world, we're going to turn to have some conversations with just a handful of the leaders of some of the national campaigns that are occurring. It's kind of difficult to connect with some of them because of the time zones live. And of course, so we just put together 3 or 4 that we're going to show you now that made a quick comment on video. And then we're going to have a live conversation with 5 of our leaders and have a short panel discussion with them to ask them live, what are they doing? How are things going during this campaign as we kick it off here at GEW 2021? So first of all, let's hear from a couple of the other campaigns. We'll get a little video clip from them because they're sleeping. Otherwise, we will, and then we'll turn to our live panel. So go ahead.
Greetings from Istanbul. This is Hilal Gerçek, Managing Director of GEN Turkey. We are very excited for removing barriers and being a part of Global Entrepreneurship Week with 180 countries again. As Habitat Association and GEN Turkey, since 2013, we host Global Entrepreneurship Week in Turkey with Endeavor. And through this week, we empowered and connected entrepreneurs, encouraged citizens to become a starter, and we supported all to collaborate and share with each other like a bridge. This year, with more than 300 partners, including universities, NGOs, public sector, private sector, science parks and incubation centers, we are very excited for celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week 2021. After all this enormous negative effects of pandemic, we believe that now is the time to move, share, learn, grow and collaborate. So we call our ecosystem "Now is the time" as motto of this year. In terms of education, ecosystem, inclusivity, and policy, we will be having workshops, panels, social media campaigns, and trainings for all actors of ecosystem in every level and aspect of entrepreneurship path. So we invite you all to celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week all together by sharing, learning, and supporting each other because, as I said, now is the time.
Saludos desde Manta, capital atunera del Ecuador, una vibrante y próspera ciudad costera que es el centro neurálgico desde el que coordinamos Global Entrepreneurship Week para todo el Ecuador. Today, I invite you all to celebrate with us GEW 2021 in Ecuador and around the world. We are waiting for you.
And I can tell you they're not going to be on this panel because of the time zones, but there's extraordinary campaigns. I mean, in China, they celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week in 300 cities. There are campaigns in Japan, New Zealand, Australia. We're ever so proud of all these nations for all that they're doing to celebrate the entrepreneur. So now we're going to turn to, however, a few people that are awake and are able to join us briefly. So first of all, these are all people that have been deeply involved in Global Entrepreneurship Week over time. I'd like to, first of all, thank Jairam for joining us from Singapore. It's probably latest for you, Jairam, on the time zone, so thank you very much in doing that. We have our dear friend Kazito joining us from South Africa. Kazito is our managing director in South Africa and also runs a center similar to this called 22 on Sloan, which is a 10,000 square meter startup campus, the largest in Africa, which is Gen's campus. We opened with Richard Branson. And we also have joining us from the United Kingdom, Elaine Gold. Thank you so much, Elaine, for joining us. I know that I hope we're not pulling you away from all the exciting things that are about to be happening there. In particular, you're obviously on the same, I'll say, British Isles, since I won't get into the Scotland, England, Ireland debate, but you're on the British Isles where the COP26 conference is indeed happening. And then we have Delphine joining us from Paris. Delphine, thank you so much indeed. We're delighted to have you. And then last but not least, I know we have Jenna Bama, who's in charge of the GEW campaign in Saudi Arabia. And as many of the live audience heard yesterday, Saudi Arabia will be the next location of the Global Entrepreneurship Congress, March 27th to the 30th of 2022. And so we're really thrilled to have them involved. So I want to turn to each of you and ask you the first obvious question, which is tell us a little bit about happening for Global Entrepreneurship Week this week in your campaign, a couple of highlights, but also tell us a little bit about what you think might be different this year in our second GEW of the pandemic, or anything that you'd like to highlight, the message you think is important that's either coming from your campaign or to your campaign this year. So I'm going to begin, if I can, with Elaine in London. I know that we're ever so proud that COP26 is aligned with GEW this year. So Elaine, how's GEW UK? GEW was invented in the UK, if you didn't know this. It was the inspiration of former Prime Minister Gordon Brown many years ago, and was taken global in partnership with the Ewing Marion Coffin Foundation, which has had the undying base support for this campaign since the beginning. So turn over to Elaine. Elaine from London, thank you.
Hi everyone, it's great to see so many familiar faces and see them in the chat as well, so hi to everyone. Jonathan, you've mentioned a couple of times about COP26. You've also mentioned about the importance of putting the entrepreneur first and about execution. And that's really what our theme for the week is about. It's about, we have a hashtag Be a Champion because we want to celebrate the champions. And our event, which is happening in Glasgow on Tuesday as part of COP26, is actually a joint event with us as Gen UK and also GEW Denmark. And we've got the guys from Startup Genome participating as well. And that is all about execution. Because in terms of the race to net zero, how we're going to get there, we can only get there through innovation and entrepreneurs. So our whole focus is that. We've got a separate website dedicated to this, Startup Planet. We've had 61 countries where their startups, their entrepreneurs have registered what they're going to do to execute towards net zero. So that's a real focus. We've got lots of things happening in Northern Ireland. We've got our great National Director for Northern Ireland focusing very much on founder well-being. So there's a lot of programs for that. And throughout the country, our partners, schools, universities, corporates are all engaging too. It's going to be hybrid this year, a lot of virtual stuff that anybody obviously can attend through our community hub, but some events happening in person. So the COP26 will be happening in Glasgow, but live streamed as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Elaine. And we're so happy to hear that founder wellbeing is featured into some of the campaigns. You know, we've learned a lot that the pandemic, sometimes we focus on how we're going to work on the economic solutions. But I know many of us as parents are also focused on this. It's not just about making sure that our kids get through the educational requirements in a very unusual time, but that we help all of us get through this from a mental health perspective. So thank you so much for that, Elaine. And super excited. I'm proud to tell you that you didn't know this because you hadn't seen the list, but there are multiple startups in the top 25 that we picked to highlight this week that do actually have solutions to net zero. So we'll be highlighting that. Very, very exciting. One particular company from Mexico. So, okay, so I'd like to turn, if we can, to Delphine. Delphine, tell us about what's happening in entrepreneurship in France right now. I know that there is a similar interest as with all of the European countries in what's happening on COP26, but tell us more about GEW France.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, and hi everyone for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here. First, I'd like to say that you mentioned it at your opening, but an entrepreneur is a visionary, a risk taker, a dreamer, a motivator, and a problem solver. He has a fire burning inside his belly, a vision and dream that he will do anything and everything in his power to bring to life. He will set himself up to succeed, put the pieces in place to make it happen, take his entire team with him, and learn from his failures so that he can keep going and keep getting better. So I would like to congratulate all the entrepreneurs around the world as we celebrate them this week, because it has been a tough 2 years, and we're right now in the recovery of it all, and entrepreneurship and investing in France has never been so greater. France is a global economic power, and the government is taking to the next level to bring the entrepreneurship as the front of the French economy. We also know that Paris is the European Union's leading financial center. And in France, we're very proud to say that we saw a record number of 691,000 startups in 2018, and that is going up right now. And there is a lot of help from the government. It hasn't from the past been easy to become an entrepreneur in France, but today it is. And so there is I would also add that right now we need entrepreneurs to get back on track with the economy, but we need women entrepreneurs as well to guide us to that recovery, to that she recovery. And so we're absolutely delighted to highlight a lot of success in France and a lot of women entrepreneurs as well being part of that recovery time. And so we're going to be sharing a lot of those news on our social media and sharing all those interaction, meeting a lot of people this week, along with my board and the team that's working with us on the ground.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Delphine. And I'll tell you, here at the newly announced Jimmy Mazarin Center for Global Entrepreneurship and Family Business, it's very interesting. We had a conversation yesterday about just this important element of inclusion. And Rebecca Huang, who's also on the Gen Global board, but is very much leading that center, had brought up a very important insight when we talk about how we get women. And I need to say this to you because last time I was in Paris, I was a speaker at the Vivitech conference, and we had just come out with new data that showed that actually new women founder rates were lowest in Europe in Paris. And I had to explain that to a French audience. And so I need to come back and respond to. What Rebecca was reminding us is this lovely notion that and of course inclusion is a fundamental 4-block theme of Global Entrepreneurship Week, and that is it's not just about whether you've got a diverse array of people invited to the party, but it's whether you've got them all dancing on the floor. And I love this notion that we really need to make sure that we're doing this together. And I know that, in fact, I know I'm going to publish an editorial with one of your board members, Bruno Berton, on this topic shortly. So thank you so much indeed, Delphine. We'll come back to you in just a minute. So Kizito, you're in South Africa. Tell us what's happening in South Africa. We know entrepreneurship is alive and well there. We know that you've had, like so many, but especially hard struggles with the pandemic. But what's happening at 22 on Sloan? What's happening across South Africa? Meet Kizito. One of the examples, when I was with the president of South Africa, he said to me, our country's future is people like Kizito. I mean, he knows him well, and he says, this is the type of person that I need to wake up in the morning and listen to and follow. So we're so proud you joined us today. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. And thank you to everyone that's joining. My name is Kizito, and I'm reaching out to you from Johannesburg. So the past 18 months has been very rough given the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think this year's GEW is all about giving hope. It's all about rebooting the economy. It's all about getting entrepreneurs to work better and collaborate better with each other. It's no longer about competition. It's all about collaboration at this stage. And this year's GEW, we are hoping, or not we hoping, we will be. We're having 3 remarkable events happening at Sloan, which I will share shortly. But also there are a lot of other ecosystem stakeholders that will be hosting various events. There are various pitching sessions happening. There's various get-together happening because also we now open to have physical events. So I think a lot of the events will be physical in South Africa. But from Sloan's side, we'll be having 3 events. One is a hackathon, which we're having from the 12th to 14th. So we've now reached out to various private sector partners and looking at what are the challenges they're facing in their business. So they've given us all those challenges and we've grouped it in 6 key sectors. So we will have around 150 software developers, strategists, engineers that will be solving this challenge over 48 hours. And there's a prize money for that. So the partners have put through $80,000 for the prize for the winners of this hackathon. And then the second thing we're doing is we launched our new program, the Catalytic program, which is our accelerator program. And we've received, currently we've received dozens of applications. So we'll be doing pitching sessions from next week, selecting the startups that will join our accelerator program. And then the third thing we'll do in partnership with the United Nations Development Program, we'll be giving away grants of $50,000 to female entrepreneurs that's been affected during the pandemic, but also during the protest that South Africa had in July. So the applications are also coming in on that, and we'll be able to select the winners for that. So that is from Sloan, but also it's important to mention that we've received great support from the new Minister of Small Business Development, Minister Stellanda Beni-Abrahams. So we'll be working with the department, but also with their agencies to achieve this. And in South Africa, there's so many other events happening, from the Western Cape government to the Durban government also, and so on. So there'll be lots of activities happening just to give hope to the entrepreneurs and to say that we can all stand up and try again and collaborate better and reboot our economies. Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Kizito, and thank you for all you do. I'll also tell all the Thunderbird alumni that have been present here at this live launch that if anybody's going to South Africa, it's an awesome 10,000 square meter facility. I know Kizito will welcome you with open arms as guests, and anybody's interested, be sure to go. It's a lovely village experience for anybody who wants to understand live how a live entrepreneurial ecosystem works. So thank you, Kizito. Awesome news about all of those competitions, and that's fantastic. Jana, we're going to turn to you in Riyadh. I know that there's been a lot of work and preparation around entrepreneurship in Saudi Arabia. I know there's been exponential growth and change around what's happening in your ecosystem and how things are working. And but can you give us a couple of highlights or what you would like to share about what we're doing this week?
Definitely. First, I'd like to thank you all for conducting this and inviting me to talk. For this week, the main focus is to reignite the collaboration and the partners that we've reached across the years before. And we have different stakeholders who are participating, whether physically or through a virtual session or conferences that they are conducting by their own, discussing entrepreneurship, reigniting local efforts and power in order to re-emphasize the importance of entrepreneurship. And for example, we have one of the most prominent VC/incubator conducting a roadshow, which is Wahed. They'll be conducting a roadshow and across the kingdom where they talk about entrepreneurship and financing for startups. So we hope with these engagement, it would have like a ripple effect, noting that even with COVID, yes, there was a lot of challenges on a national level, but for example, investments in the VC or in the high risk funds were still going strong. So we hope that this only indicates a better recovery for the country as well.
Thank you very much indeed. And do you have an invitation you'd like to extend as the host city of Global Entrepreneurship Congress today to all the people around the world that are participating in GEW?
I definitely welcome everyone, and we look forward for you to not only experience GEC in Saudi, but to experience Saudi as well.
I know for anybody thinking about that trip, I can tell you I tested out the new e-visa. It takes 3.5 minutes, so don't worry about the technicalities. But also, the extraordinary thing about Saudi Arabia is that one of the things that, and I'm very guilty of this, I go to a place and I'm there for a day and I don't get to really understand the culture. But I know that our hosts in Saudi Arabia are going to ensure that everybody has the opportunity to not just see things like new cities they're building like Neom, but also to be able to really understand the cultural heritage. One of the things we forget about the Middle East is we often look at economics and politics and those kinds of things, but we forget how ancient the societies are and how much knowledge and innovation came from that part of the world. And so we're very proud to be going to participate and learn more about the great cultures around the MENA region in the GCC countries. So thank you very much for that, Jana. We appreciate that. And we really appreciate Monshaat, which is the local partner agency that Jana is connected to that will be hosting the GC. So that's fantastic. In a moment, I'm going to let you know, before we wrap up, we're going to be on time, but I do have a couple of surprise guests that I'm going to bring up here. People that have been part of this effort, who are here in person, flown in, to just give you an exemplary image of what we're doing. But before we do that, we want to go to Singapore. Jaron, we can now publicly say that I know that you and Elaine and have, at least anyway, have, and of course Jana, have winners that you'll be highlighting in your campaigns this week. I know that you're very excited about that because you were part of that. But tell us more about what's going to be happening in GEW in Singapore.
Yes, Jonathan, thank you so much for sharing about the top 25 winners for Entrepreneurship World Cup. Really delighted to hear that 2 of the Singapore startups got into the top 25. Just touch on this 2 slightly. NDR Medical Technology really focuses on integrating AI and robotics to complement surgeons with robotic procedures. And also on inclusion, we have the Authentic platform as a one-stop platform to connect individuals with caretakers of individuals with intellectual disabilities, and also with services, care services providers. So I think that's really great to hear 2 of the Singapore startups make it. On top of that, I think in Singapore, we're also glad to learn that from the Global Startup Ecosystem Report, we maintain 5th in Asia and also 17th globally for startup ecosystems. Just want to add a little bit more on what happened to the pandemic. Singapore, despite the pandemic, Singapore is a small country. If you have not noticed, we are a tiny red dot in Southeast Asia. This pandemic itself hurt us pretty much because as a financial hub and a trading hub in this region, we depend a lot of globalization and for borders to stay open, right? So despite that, we still drew in about $5.5 billion in venture capital investment in the past year, and also making us the leading city in acquiring VC funding for Southeast Asia. Our government also knows that it's important for support in funding. So they launched the Research, Innovation, Enterprise 2025 plan, which has set aside $20 billion in investments towards research and development for strategic domains. And more importantly, we move forward to create more opportunities in those areas. And for GEW, complementing whatever our ecosystems has been supporting in this region. We're excited to announce that it's the 2nd year we are collaborating with our fellow GEW countries, Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, Indonesia, to have a Southeast Asia edition of GEW in a virtual manner. And for Singapore, we really focus a lot on inclusion and ecosystems this year. We have the inaugural Startup Harder Southeast Asia and also COM conference, really focusing on helping our founders, our entrepreneurs to reset and to support one another in this unprecedented situation. Because, as an entrepreneur myself, be it good times or bad times, really, we would need someone to talk to share our troubles, to learn from each other. And that's where I think Startup Harder complements and help these founders get through these difficult times and emerge stronger. And good things to note from GEW, we focus a lot on scaling across Southeast Asia. So if our partners in Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, we have session during the opening ceremony. And in conjunction with GW, we do have exciting events lined up. We have the Singapore FinTech Festival and the Singapore Week of Innovation and Technology that is happening from 8 to 12 of November, where it attracts thousands of ecosystem stakeholders, policymakers, institutions, entrepreneurs, investors to come together during that week to help boost our ecosystems and help entrepreneurs succeed. So that's about Singapore, and looking forward to also participate in the various countries GW. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you so much, Jay-Ren. And just to let you know, we want to sincerely thank each of you for joining us live today. Stay with us. We also want to thank some others who are joining us live in person. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge them up here and why I asked them to come up during this Global Entrepreneurship Week opening. First of all, to my right, he'll introduce himself, but is Faris, who has been a speaker around the world for Global Entrepreneurship Week, but he runs the GEW campaigns in Michigan. He's from Detroit, very originally from Palestinian background, but he has, he's really, we call him the Detroit guy. So I'll get Faris to say something. Just introduce yourself, Faris, please.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Jonathan. What a great honor to be here with you and celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week. If you're not engaged, I encourage you to find an event, and it's been much more accessible than ever before, because now you could just tune in from anywhere around the world to any GEW you want to be in. So I encourage you to really find an activity that you want to be in and get involved. There's just wonderful people that want to do great things in the local community where you are. I've been blessed to be part of the Global Entrepreneurship Network for years, and in the past year I've been able to fly all around the world to speak during Global Entrepreneurship Week, and this year actually I'm speaking virtually in almost 4 other countries. So there are lots of wonderful things that you could really participate in. The local community really want to see you do well in your community. So please, you have a sample right here from your community, engage them in the conversation, and find ways to stay in touch during Global Entrepreneurship Week. And to Jonathan's point earlier, and stay connected after the week. The week is awesome to start the connection, but then keep the conversation going after the week. It's an honor to be here, and yeah, join us in Michigan as well. We have all kinds of awesome things, from the governor welcome remarks to the MEDC presidents welcoming everyone to do business in Michigan, and all the way to different entrepreneurs sharing their stories, as well as all different kind of workshops throughout the week. So I encourage you to tune in to Global Entrepreneurship Week Michigan. You can Google that, and it'll probably pop up. It's a free event online.
Wonderful. And while Faris is just mentioning Michigan, I want to do a special call out to Ellen Erickson, who's the director of the GWSA campaign. We actually have state coordinators in every state, and we have local organizers like Faris. It's a really tremendous celebration in the United States. Of course, we're making it all about Phoenix this year, but we are indeed actively having campaigns across the country this week, and so we encourage you to check that out. I also want to pay special attention to my dear friend, Jeff Hoffman, the chair of the GEN Global Board. Jeff is, as always, an inspiration to so many of the entrepreneurs that we're highlighting all year round, and has been a great mentor. So a quick hello from you, Jeff.
Sure. So I actually just came back from GEN Portugal. We did an event live in Portugal with our GEN team there to launch the week, and I'm doing, like you are, I'm doing about a dozen live appearances in at least 12 or more of your countries this week, so I'll see a lot of you. From as big as Talk in Indonesia to as small as kicking off our event in Bhutan this week. So I really look forward to talking to a lot of you, and it's been really fun to see actually some of the entrepreneurs that I mentor in this top 25. Congrats again, buddy.
Well, on that note, I'm going to go next to Neil. Of course, you saw the video of him getting told that he was in the top 25, and he's from Thailand, but he's here today in Phoenix, Arizona, to be live for this launch. So, Neil, you're on behalf of the entire class. Maybe you could just say something about the entrepreneur's perspective in this wonderful campaign.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jeff. Now it's an honor for me to be here in person. It's a little unreal. This is a bit far from Bangkok. But I was in Los Angeles when I found out the news from Jonathan, and he was like, why don't you come down to Phoenix? It's my first time in Phoenix, and I'm super impressed by the ecosystem here. I think that it was on the video before that entrepreneurs, we need to collaborate more now than ever after this pandemic. So I'm excited to be a part of this wonderful family, and thank you for the opportunity. And we look forward to making a difference to the world this year. So thank you.
Great.
I have to tell you something really quick. His first time to Phoenix. This is my hometown, so I'll be participating in our Phoenix panel in a few minutes. I grew up here and have watched the city grow, but I took him out for his first authentic Mexican food at my childhood Mexican restaurant yesterday.
Wonderful.
He owes me some Thai food now.
Yeah, there we go, there we go. Well, Rebecca, if you could just stay up here, and then thank you so much. Thanks for being here today. I really, really appreciate it. We're gonna end our launch today with not just, I hope you saw this is a symbolic representation of GEW USA and its engagement with the world, with the leaders like Jeff Hoffman, who's founded several companies, inspiring and mentoring our companies, and of course with the entrepreneurs as Neil represented. But what's most exciting to me is that we have a new partner with Thunderbird, and Rebecca has been tremendous. She's been a great voice, particularly on the inclusion movement that we're focused on in this GEW campaign. But Rebecca, stay up here, and we'd like to invite Sanjeev, the Dean of Thunderbird here, and to come up here and to say congratulations, because you're now a new member of the family. And next time we do this, we'll have you up here we are proud to announce that actually we just signed an MOU for working together around the world with the extraordinary alumni who are building companies. And thank you so much for hosting this launch. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca, as you know, has got both hats. She's both serves on our board, of course, as well as the Jimmy Masrin Center that is getting opened in this fantastic facility. So thank you so much indeed. But I want to give you a chance just to say some thoughts here just before we wrap up here.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Hola, namaste, Jambo. Welcome from around the world to the Thunderbird School of Global Management. We are just honored to be a member, a partner, a family part of the Global Entrepreneurship Network and Global Entrepreneurship Week. Very much launching and advancing the Phoenix ecosystem with an initiative called Phoenix Global Rising, launching this great center, the A. Masrin Center for Global Entrepreneurship and Family Business that Rebecca Wang is a professor and director for. Also great events at COP26. On Monday, we're launching the Global Carbon Removal Partnership because we believe we need to go beyond net zero to net negative. And finally, all of our centers around the world that we hope to link with the Global Entrepreneurship Network, from Nairobi to Bogota, Moscow to Tokyo, we see a great partnership going forward. So thank you, Jonathan and Jeff and the entire GEN network. It's going to be an incredible week. And Thunderbird School of Global Management at Arizona State University, #1 for global leadership, #1 for innovation, is right there with you, part of the family.
Fantastic. Thank you so much indeed. We really, really appreciate it. And I will add that in the top 100 emerging ecosystems in the world that we've reported on, Phoenix is in that top 50. So congratulations.
We want to get to the top 10.
There we go. There we go. So we're ever so excited about that. So thank you very much indeed. we're now gonna officially declare Global Entrepreneurship Week is open and underway, and be able to move forward with this week's campaign. So thank you very much indeed.